Hi, it's John, and welcome to the channel. Great to have you along. I appreciate you clicking on this video. Of course, I've got my big blue mug with me here. I always like it when I do these Zoom calls as I can make my mug disappear. Wonderful to have you along. And today we've got a special guest, as you can tell, with me today. I've got Brad Williams, president of the Saskatchewan Prosperity Project. No, not Alberta Prosperity Project, the Saskatchewan Prosperity Project. And Brad, it's great to have you here on the channel. Thanks for joining me today.
Well, thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
So when I heard about this, I got in touch with Gary from who helps out with the Alberta Prosperity Project. So I want to talk to Brad. I always say there's safety in numbers, or it's good to have other people part of the fight. But we have the Alberta Prosperity Project here moving ahead with our petition and possible referendum. Where do you stand here, Brad, in Saskatchewan? How are things looking? And are you just at the beginning of the process yourself?
We are 5 years behind Alberta Prosperity Project because we literally are a month old.
Okay.
So we're hitting the ground running. I'm doing town halls already. We have a website that was actually created, and we decided to change our logo and make it a little bit more closer to the Alberta Prosperity Project. So we want to go with a whole new look, and we want to put a whole lot of information on there. And thankfully, the Alberta Prosperity Project has been excellent. They've given us their full support. We can help ourselves to any of their materials. Of course, some we have to tweak to Saskatchewan values because, of course, we aren't sending as much to Ottawa because we have such a smaller population. But, just things that are very relative to us. And we've got our Facebook page, Saskatchewan Prosperity Project, up and running. That one will have all the events posted on it. I've got 4 town halls next week, and I can send you that information as well as we have an X account, I believe, that just got set up. So we're uh, kind of quickly pulling that whole structure together, trying to get out to the communities and get some chapters set up, get people involved, and get them to know that we're there and that we want to get going. We
So
want to
send
catch
me
up to you guys.
Yeah, send me all that information. I'll put it on the screen so people can follow. It'll be in the description as well. The website is skprosperityproject.ca. I'm so glad you didn't put the whole province name in there. I was thinking about it. Oh my God, I gotta type this whole thing out. That's great. There's not a lot there right now. There is an email address at the bottom of the page if you want to get in touch with Brad and the project. It must be nice to know that you've got the Alberta Prosperity Project there. We're so pleased with Mitch Sylvester, Dennis Modry, Jeff Rath, all of the volunteers, all of the people working so hard with the Alberta Prosperity Project. They've had some stumbles along the way. You can learn from that, and you don't have to make a lot of
Exactly.
those stumbles yourself, right?
And that's the beauty of it
Yeah.
because the way I see it, we've got about less than a year to try to catch up and do 5 years of what they've done. So for us to basically start right where they are right now, and that's our starting point. And if we can get all the experience and all the downfalls and all the little because you run into things that you do one way and then you look back and went, oh, we should have thought bigger or something, right?
Mm-hmm.
So just setting up all our structure, it's I've got a really good team behind me that's working hard behind the scenes, and yeah, we want to catch up to you guys, and because when you go, we want to be right in your back pocket and go with you.
Well, I just did an interview with Jeff Rath, court cases as well, so maybe you can get that
Yes.
stuff out of the way before you have to do it in the future. What's really interesting about this is something I was thinking about before I started this interview, Brad, was back, was it the spring? There was a poll. Saskatchewan's further ahead when it comes to independence than Alberta was. More people in Saskatchewan were interested in independence. What are your gripes with Ottawa? I know what mine are here in Alberta. What are yours?
How much time do we have on this?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I think like Mitch Sylvester, and I actually use this quote, where Sifton, who was one of the parliamentarians at the time in 1904, basically in his book said that they wanted to use the wealth of the prairies to help fund everything in the East.
Hmm.
And I've never seen that before, but when you think about it, it's still happening. So
Yeah.
120 years, we've been screaming from the West here. They had the energy program in the 80s that, totally crushed everything here. And the whole reason they didn't want the West to be more prosperous or more powerful than the East. So I mean, we've been just totally like put in a place where we're always having to fight to be able to do what we're good at doing. People in this province built this province off blood, sweat, and tears. We like to work hard. We like to play hard, and when you have a government that's supposed to be supporting you, and then they turn around and they try to stop you at every turn. I think that's the biggest frustration.
The thing that really stuck out with me was how much Carney was sticking up for Doug Ford and his automotive industry, but when it came to canola and things like that, hardly a word was said for months about this 100% tariff that was put on that by China, among other things. And I thought this is how we're ignored out here in the West. And when you talk about sort of the work ethic of people here in the West, people out east don't understand it. When you said that, I'm thinking exactly the same thing here in Alberta. But that's what I was thinking. They don't seem to give a damn when it comes to the tariffs out here, but when it comes to the tariffs out east, where it's vote rich, that's the most important thing.
Well, and I mean, Easterners, I mean, no, like not discrediting anybody else in Canada not being like us. I mean, they have their own Canadian culture, and
I,
it just kind of flows through the country, right?
I'm from there, Brad. My whole family lives in Ontario, so
So you get
yeah,
it.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
But the Easterners just are different than we are out west here. We just aren't of kind of the same cloth. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that.
No,
But
no.
the biggest thing that I find really amusing is when you're actually online and I'm like, because of course I've been following APP for a long time, and
Mhm.
you get people from down east who make the comments like, oh, you guys are whiners or this, that, and the other thing. Well, you just proved to us that's the problem. You never listen. We've been screaming for 120 years, you know.
Let me throw this at you. We are
Northern Ontario, different story, but southern parts maybe not so much.
we are a distinct society. And that's what Quebec always says. We're a distinct folks, we're a
Well, we
distinct society
are.
here. We are. And I
Yeah,
learned it when I moved out here 15 years ago. It's totally different. And I talk about the people saying we're whiners, they don't get us at all. So let's talk a
right.
little bit about what you've been doing. You said you've been going out and doing some meetings. How are they going so far?
Actually, I've been really, really, it's been exciting. I did Meadow Lake. We had about 80 people, I would be my guess. I didn't get a chance to count that one.
Mhm.
Prince Albert, we had 150 is what somebody had counted. And last night in Leader, we had 35.
Mhm.
So for first meetings, I think that's awesome. I
Yep.
mean, you have to start somewhere. And the reality is, I think because there's been other things that have happened in the past in the province, Unified Grassroots had kind of started off. And then when Nadine Ness, who was kind of heading up that, stepped aside, it kind of went flat. And I know for myself, that's why I went looking for somebody else because I was wanting to get involved at that point. So I think, with just some different, political parties over the years where things kind of start out really good and then you just fall flat.
Yeah. Same
A
here.
lot of
Yeah.
people, yeah, a lot of people have like, oh, here we go again. We're going to do all this work and then it's just going to peter out. All I can tell you is I'm here for the long haul. I actually left a 35-year career and retired early than I wanted to do this because it's that important.
Right.
And I want to have the time.
Yeah, well, you say that. I went to my first meeting when it came to independence back in 2019. About 1,200 people showed up at a big school in North Calgary here. And I was concerned because there were a lot of, it was called Wexit at that point. There were a whole bunch of independence groups, and I was kind of put off because none of them were working together. And then along comes the Alberta Prosperity Project. And I've spoken to Ron Robertson from the Independence Party here. I've spoken with Jeevan Mangat from the Wild Rose Independence Party here, different independence groups who are in all in when it comes to the Alberta Prosperity Project. So you've got this one group bringing everybody together, and that is very important. So what I want, I'll put up a card so everybody can see your meetings coming up. Maybe I'll just give you some advice here. You're not going to get a lot of media coverage, mainstream media, traditional media, legacy media, do
Would we
podcasts.
want it?
What?
Would we
No,
want it? It'll be lies anyways.
well, yeah, but they're not going to cover you that much. You do
Right.
podcasts. I mean, honestly, I can't tell you how many people have said to me, I went to this event because I saw Mitch on your channel, or I saw this, or you mentioned this. And so make sure you do lots of podcasts just because you'll get tens of thousands of views on that and you'll spread your message really quickly. And yet, when you get those people showing up, you're going to get 200, 300 people at a time. You're going to find out that you're getting your message out there. You have a commitment to vote as well. Now, I signed up with the Alberta Prosperity Project. It doesn't mean you're voting yes in a referendum, but you're looking for a commitment to vote as well. How can they do that?
Yeah, so I'll just give you a quick history. So the Unified Grassroots, when they were wanting to do Like they wanted to get something going. At that point, they thought they'd be able to collect signatures for a petition
Hmm.
and submit that, and then they can force a plebiscite. We found out there's a few more hurdles we may have to go through. We have some people working on that. So as soon as I became elected president and got involved, there's another group called Prairie Rising Forum. They've been working a lot on extensively on that legal pathway, like just finding the right path.
Hmm.
Uh,
Hmm.
and they're really wonderful people. So I wanted, like you said, you want everybody working together. So I reached out to both groups and I said, like, instead of trying to compete, us having, splitting up a town, like half are with us, half are with you, and we're all going doing the same thing, and you're kind of focused on that, and doing the legal pathway. I can focus on building the numbers up. So when you need the signatures, we're here for you.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where we've come to an agreement, and Unified Grassroots is going to be working with us. They're kind of going on a little bit of a different path. I don't know the exact description. That might be more kind of town halls about local issues, but we are going to all work together. We are all committed to working together.
Yep.
And all the names that we do collect will be shared like commonly between the three. So when you ask the process, yes, we have a QR code that I'll send you.
Yep. I'll put
They
it
can
up.
scan, yeah, they can scan that, put in their name and their address and the email and all that information. And there's some other questions on there if they want a newsletter and all that kind of stuff. The beautiful thing about that is once we have that in our system, as soon as we get a word from Prairie Rising that they need signatures, we've got the master list. We can go to that. We can connect with everybody and get everybody out to make the signatures. So, we don't think it's going to be once. We think it might be twice or three times. We might have to go through this process. So it's really, really vital that people, to get on there and say that, when it comes time that they're willing to sign,
Hmm.
some information that they want to get involved and help volunteering, because we'll need people to collect signatures too. We'll need a huge army for that. So, if you have everybody puts in an hour or two, and we got, 3 or 4 thousand people, we can make really short work of this and make it so much easier to get those done.
You talk about you need volunteers. These events that you do, they take time, they take effort. You've got to put things up, and you need volunteers. Can people go to the website? I'll put the website up. At the bottom, there's an email address. Is that the best way to contact you right now?
Yes, the website is kind of half developed. We're actually moving
Yeah.
servers to a really secure server right now, and that's why kind of all that's on hold.
Brad, you've
So
only been around for a month. That's okay. Right? It's
you'd be
okay.
surprised how many people have right away. Well, why isn't there this? Why is there
Yeah.
that?
Yeah.
Because it takes time to build that structure,
Sure
and you want
does.
it right, and it has to be done solid, right?
Yep.
So our website will be quick. Like we're going to basically copy a lot of APPs, and like I said, put the Saskatchewan flavor on, it, and then we'll start adding our own stuff and building it from there. So when that finally hits where we got that domain secure and we've got we can move everything over, all of a sudden, boom, there's going to be a lot of the site popping up. So if they just go to that, keep going to that web address,
Mhm.
they will eventually see a new page and then know that we're good to go.
SKProsperityProject.ca, email address on the screen as well, so people can get in touch if they want to volunteer. I know it's only been a month.
Well,
We're looking. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
if they actually use that QR code, they can actually sign up to volunteer right on there. Everything's
Sure.
included on there.
Okay. That makes it much easier. I know it's only been a month. We're looking. I mean, I've spoken with Keith Wilson here, the lawyer. Keith at the Alberta legislature when I was there said, next year we're going to have a referendum here. He says 100% sure. Jeff Rath has said that. Dennis Modry has said that. Mitch Sylvester has said that. We're going to have a referendum here. Have you got any idea how far down the road? Again, it's only been a month, if you don't
Yeah.
know. But what are you planning here? How long before you think you might be able to get to the same place Alberta is right now?
Well, I would like that to be tomorrow, of course, but
Yeah.
um, without knowing exactly what pathway we have to take, because there's a lot of little things that they're finding that are kind of put in as roadblocks. I'm sure it's intentional.
Mm.
So they're working really hard to try to make that a much more streamlined process where we can do much faster. And, they might have to nudge the, SAS party that's in power here to maybe make some tweaks or changes so that it makes it a little bit more of a clear path.
Yes, yes.
So Scott Moe has said that he would support, the people having a voice and having that say. So I guess we're going to test his word. We're going to see
Yeah.
if he really meant what he said or if that's just, politics.
Because Danielle Smith in Alberta did make it easier for us to get signatures to have a referendum because the threshold was pretty high before. If I remember correctly, it's around 177,000 names on a petition, which we already have in a database at the Alberta Prosperity Project. Just before I leave you, I want to encourage people to go out to one of these meetings. Go out. First off, I've been to the ones for the Alberta Prosperity Project. They're so much fun, and there's an electricity in the room you've never felt before because you're thinking of forming a new country and you're on sort of on the ground floor of making that happen. And I've said that to Mitch before. Isn't this exciting? Somewhere down the road, your name could be written in history and you could be part of this. So go out to one of the meetings. And again, here are the meetings. I'll put them on the screen so people can go out to them and make sure you keep looking at the website to find out other ones, but they're a lot of fun. It's exciting, isn't it, Brad?
It is. And
Yeah.
I'd like to give me a few seconds. I'd like to add
Sure.
uh, a new nation, creating a new country. We always hear that, oh, we can't do it because of this, we can't do it because of that. Every country that's ever existed started just like this. People who wanted change, people who want something better. And the people are scared. They got lots of concerns, questions. What happens to CPP? What about being landlocked? All these questions. Well, we have the answers. Come out to a
Mhm.
meeting. That's how you'll find those answers. If you think right now in your head that you want to stay in Canada, I have a question for you. Name me one good reason, one benefit is for us to stay in Canada. I can't think of one that we can't do on our own.
Well,
Not one.
the question I like to ask, Brad, is if Alberta wasn't a province of Canada right now, would we join?
Well, of course not.
I would say no, and I think a lot of people say, you know what? Even people who have the the patriotism with Canada, I'm like, maybe I wouldn't join because things could probably be better if we're on our own. So that's the question I like to ask.
Well, like what has Canada done for my family in the last 10 years except make more and more, create more and more taxes and make things more harder to obtain,
Hmm.
you know? So yeah, it's just one of those situations where I mean, I think we're so patriotic. We're so proud to be Canada, but that Canada's gone. And it's been gone for about 10 years here. It's just been eroding. And if we don't become our own independent nation and protect that, we won't have those values at all.
And
Canada in all of our hearts, but the question I like to ask people is if you woke up this morning and Saskatchewan was its own province, are you or country, are you gonna like pack up and leave to some other Canadian province just to say you're Canadian? 90% of the people say no, and the reason is because we're Saskatchewanians or we're Albertans. We're
mm,
proud of where we are.
yeah.
You'll never take the Canadian out of our hearts.
Well, Corey Morgan said here on this channel before, he said, Canada will still be there. Aunt Edna will still be in Toronto, or you'll have somebody who lives out in Newfoundland. They'll still be there. We'll just have a different relationship than we had before. And I think that's a good way maybe to end this. Good luck to you. It's exciting. Send me all that info. We'll get it up there. And if you have anything going on in the future, you let me know about it. I'd like to have you back on again, Brad.
Anytime you want me, I'll be back for you.
Okay, Brad
Very good.
Williams.
Thank you for the time,
I'm sorry.
John.
I'm sorry. What was that?
Thank you very much for the time.
Oh, it's a pleasure. Brad Williams, president of the Saskatchewan Prosperity Project. Thanks a lot for watching this. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell for notifications. I will see you in the next one.